Hello everybody and welcome to this wonderful session that we're going to cover. My name is Rafael Gadesha. I am a cybersecurity engineer, and today with me I have my very good friend. He can introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Constantine Ingumba. I'm a data analytics professional, interested in all things data. My desire and what gives me satisfaction is the ability for me to help organizations derive insights from their data to make better decisions. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks, Constantine. And today and over the next few weeks, we're going to cover different topics on data in the field of data. And I believe you're the right person to ask those questions, because I know you're very knowledgeable in this field. But for today, as we start, you're going to give us a brief. I've been hearing of these many buzzwords in data, and I've been wondering what exactly they are. Such include big data, business intelligence or business analytics. There is AI and machine learning. Could you just let us know what are all these terms and what do they refer to?
Okay. Most times when these words are being used, we call them buzzwords, yes, but they most times can be used interchangeably. So for example, if I'm talking about AI and machine learning, they can be used interchangeably. However, AI is just like a baby. Machine learning is AI's baby. So machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is basically the ability of a machine to learn tasks that can be done by a human being and be able to do those tasks. So for example, we hear about self-driving cars.
Yeah.
This is basically artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And artificial intelligence will help you get into a car and have the car drive you to wherever destination you're going to without your intervention. As much as we know that the end goal is that the car will be able to drive you from point A to point B, we may not necessarily say that this car will replace the human function, because for you to even bring the car to power on the car, you need human intervention. So as much as we are talking about artificial intelligence replacing human beings, it's not possible to do that 100%, but it's now just the ability of a machine to learn some of the human tasks and be able to do it. Another good example is when you use Google Translate, where you type in some French words and you're able to translate that to English.
Yeah.
That is just a machine in the back end learning, because the machine has already been trained to do some task. It will be able to do that task and achieve it. Now, when you talk about machine learning, we are looking about training, creating, being able to build models that learn certain tasks over time and are now have the ability to be able to predict what is likely to happen. A good example will be in an industry where you are trying to, say, predict your revenue for the next 3 quarters. Now, based on historical data that you have, you can be able to use that to predict how you perform quarterly, if at all. There are some factors that happen in each quarter that determine the outcome of how you perform at the end of the quarter. So that is machine learning. Yes.
So this is basically taking the information that you already have existing, say for example historical data, and using that as input to your, I don't know what you call it in that, but maybe your code or whatever program you're using.
So you use that to build a model.
Okay.
You build a model with various. Now remember, your data will have different features. So like if you're predicting your revenue, you probably will have the time of the year or month, the day of the month, the day of the week. You will have other factors such as the branch where you operate in. You'll have other factors as the product you're selling. So now in future, once you have all this data, you should be able to feed it. You can create a machine learning model which will now take in the different outcomes you already have. And then in future, if you wanted to predict how you would perform in future, you will be able now to feed some not dummy information, sorry. You will be able to fill in some data into that model and tell it, how will I likely perform in the next. Remember, the more data you have, the better your model will become. So over time, once the model keeps on learning how you perform differently, it should be able to improve in precision and accuracy as you proceed. Now, going to things like big data. another buzzword that we talk a lot about is big data. So big data is basically data that is big, as the name suggests. So remember, every day, every second, we are processing a lot of information. A lot of information is going out there. Unlike the traditional tools that we would feed structured data, we now have a lot of unstructured data coming in. So big data is just a combination of the structured data and now the unstructured data that is coming in very high volumes. Remember, like on Twitter, every second somebody is tweeting.
Yes.
All this data, how can you use this data to make decisions? Now, this is what we are calling big data. The data that is coming in at high velocity in large volumes.
Okay.
That is
what
big
about
data.
business analytics?
Okay. Business analytics is basically, now remember, data analytics is just the ability, not necessarily the ability, the combination of tools and technologies that will allow you to process raw data to information that you can use. Now, business analytics is just data analytics. However, it's more focused on the business environment. So for organizations, remember, as an individual who's not necessarily in a business, you may have different data analytics. Remember, you may be having something that monitors your heartbeat and things like those. Over time, you can be able to tell your habits. However, when we talk about business analytics, we are just doing data analytics, however, for corporates or for businesses.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Then I know there are many people wondering, okay, I have interest to get into data.
Yes.
But I don't really know where to start or what to start doing. Or I'm already in the field of data, but there are places which I don't know. The industry in Kenya is one way. Or the world is heading towards this way. So what are some of the pointers or areas that they can pay attention to as they start their career in data?
Okay, so there are various career paths that are available in the field of data. So you can come in as a data engineer, you can train as a data engineer, you can train as a data analyst, you can train as a data scientist, and even now we have machine learning engineers. So if you want to become a data engineer, you may need to understand data structures better, because what a data engineer does is basically, remember, in an organization setting, for example, we have 10 systems or 10 different sources of information. At the end of the day, we want to combine all these sources together and give meaningful or structured data to a data analyst who can now further analyze that data to give us insights. So as a data engineer, you need to have the knowledge of going to different sources of data and being able to collect that information and place it in a central repository where now the different personnel within the organizations or the different stakeholders who may need this data can access it. So as a data engineer, you may need to learn there are of course tools, data engineering tools. So we have like Informatica, we have Oracle Data Integrator, and we even have Apache Kafka. So like now if you want to stream live data, you may need to sharpen your Python skills so that you are able to process this data either in real time or even build your own ETL to be able to pick this data from the different sources and place it in a central repository. Now, once you place the data in a central repository, we have another role, who are the business intelligence developers or data developers. These guys are responsible for now transforming this data from the different formats it's in. Remember, as a data engineer, you pulled this data from the different sources and place it in a central repository. Now, the BI developer will now be able to transform this data into a form that can be used by somebody who wants to do analysis. Now, remember, they need to marry the data from the different sources. So like from a banking environment, for example, you may have data from internet banking, and you also have data from another system like the core banking system. So you want to marry these two transactions and say, how much did I get from this particular line or from this particular product, or how much deposits came in, or how many withdrawals were done. Just trying to understand the behavior of your customers. And remember, the other good use case is where you want to build a customer 360 view in an organization. You want to be able to understand your customer at the different touch points. So you may have a customer who's coming in from this source, from this other source. At the end of the day, if I transacted on internet banking and I also transacted through the core banking system, I'm just one customer. But how do you collect my information? Both systems have my information, but at the end of the day, I want to report on you as just one individual. That is where the data engineer, the BI developers will come in to transform this data into a form that now an analyst can be able to use to do analysis. And now that brings me to what a data analyst is. Data analysts are responsible for analyzing and discovering trends and patterns in the data. At the end of the day, we want to use data to make decisions. But we have a lot of raw data coming in. So the analyst will now try to analyze this data by doing from simple to complex activities, such as grouping this information. So say if you wanted to see your weekly transactions that are coming into through the organizational system, then you need somebody to be able to pick all this data and group it by week and build very nice looking charts and things like those. But remember, this data analyst needs to understand the core business such that they are in a position to know the right questions to ask and the right visuals to present, so that they help you as an organization make better decisions. And then at the end of it all, we also have data scientists. Data scientists are not necessarily data analysts, but they also have data analyst skills. So they are able to do exploratory data analysis just to discover patterns in any data before they do things like predictions, because data scientists are guys who are very knowledgeable in statistics and complex analysis methods that they use to help you predict what is likely to happen. So at the end of the day, you not necessarily want to understand your historical data, how your products did last month or last year, but you also want to be in a position where you can predict what is likely to happen. So they will build machine learning models and use complex statistical methods to try and predict what is likely to happen. For example, for an insurance company, a data scientist can use this information to predict how many claims are likely to be reported in the coming year. Remember, we have some uncertainties that happen. When you build a model, you can feed in some of these uncertainties. Like remember during COVID, businesses didn't operate as they would. If you use a model, or a data scientist comes up with a model that predicts maybe how much money you are likely to make as a company without factoring in COVID, then they would probably be wrong because some businesses close. But now when you're doing your prediction and you factor in that, then you're able to accurately or close to 100% predict what is likely to happen. And this will now brace you for what is coming in the future. And that is the kind of work data scientists do.
Interesting.
Yes.
I think you have really provided us very good information in this episode, and I really learned a lot about what the data field is all about. And for the next few weeks, we are going to now delve in deep into some of these areas that he has just mentioned. I look forward to your insights, and probably you're going to give us a few guests who are going to come in and also give us more explanation. Probably you can get a data analyst to tell us what their day-to-day work looks like. And I'm really looking forward to that. So guys, we want to end it there. We look forward to the next few weeks, so stay tuned to this discussion. Thank you very much.